You're listening to Your Man on the Street with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA FM, your station for information and inspiration. You're listening to Your Man on the Street with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA FM, your station for information and inspiration.
And good, happy Monday to everyone. I'm James Mack, your man on the street, and Wisdom's Daughter is on assignment today. And we have I'd like to wish everyone a happy, all of you fellas a happy belated Father's Day. I know that we did not come on during Father's Day. I hope that you had a wonderful one, as I know I had, and I hope that you were treated well as the kings that you are. And we have interesting stories today that we're going to be just discussing. You know something? I was looking and reading an article about Sean Puffy Combs, as we call him, Diddy. And you know something? When power and when you have status and you have prestige and all those things, we have to be very, very careful how we use those abilities and those gifts that we've been given, because much is given, much is required. And I was reading this about him, how his life was and how his lifestyle is. And a lot of it has shocked a lot of people when they had to raid on his houses. But you know, the people that are around you, they will have a tendency to let the world know whether they're disgruntled or whether they really concerned about the welfare of the person that they work for. Diddy's former bodyguard is detailing his alleged drug use, his abuse, and he quote unquote says that the man was a junkie. It's amazing to me even saying that, because those of us that have listened to Diddy and his projects and his proteges down through the years, and even with the East Coast West Coast rivalry with the notorious B.I.G. and with Tupac Shakur and the tragic endings of their lives, we come to this point where we've seen the behind the scenes antics that Diddy had, of course, with the assault and uh, the domestic abuse that he had with his partner, his girlfriend Cassie. And we all saw the video. We all saw what was happening, and it is a disgrace. I will say this: it's a disgrace for any man to put his hands on a woman. And the way that we saw Diddy do what he did, it shocked all of us, and it shouldn't have took us by surprise. I think a lot of people kind of was telling us, and Cassie herself, even in her lawsuit, was trying to tell people this is what happened. And there's several other things that went on behind the scenes with this young man, and it is just so amazing how uh, things are really, really coming out. So his former bodyguard uh, is stating a whole lot of things, and Roger Bonds is his name. Roger Bonds, who worked closely with Diddy for several years and claimed to have witnessed his abuse of Cassie and much, much more. He says during this interview with Vlad TV, he says that the Bad Boy Records founder alleged past drug abuse. He alleges that Diddy would ask those close to him to obtain prescription medications for him under their names, including Cassie and himself, Mr. Bonds. This seemingly collaborates the accusations that the songstress made against her now ex, who she settled that lawsuit with. And Mr. Bonds talks a whole lot about, and he goes into details about his part in this, uh, in taking care of his bosses, I should say, or going to get certain things for him. And I'm not advocating any at any time or any kind of uh, drug use or anything that alters your mind, but this is something that was pretty interesting to me as I read. And he said, Mr. Bond says everyone would go to the pharmacy and pick up certain word that I'm not going to say over the air stuff up for uh, Diddy in their names. He said, even one time, he says, I believe I went to pick up something in my name and just gave it to Diddy. He says also that, but he would do that on the regular. He would go to CVS, he would go to different pharmacies and pick up prescription drugs for him. And he also continues to say, he says that I know that he was a junkie at the time. He continues to just elaborate. He said he had a bag that he would carry with him every day, and it was up to the assistant to, or even some of his other security partners, to carry that bag. And he had a name for it. He had a name for his bag. He called it the medicine bag. And in this medicine bag, you would have everything that he would need, anything that he would want. And he says also that uh, before listing off some of the substances that Diddy was using, he says, "What do you think about the recent claims about Diddy and his alleged drug use?" And he shared his thoughts. He said what he had to say, and it's just amazing that this young man, being as successful as he is, and helping all those that are in the hip hop world and in their hip hop careers, and giving them an opportunity to become famous. But behind the scenes, this young man had some real serious demons that led to some of his behavior. And I know some of us, and all of us, uh, know somebody that uh, has abused some kind of substance, whether it's drinking or whether it's uh, narcotics of some kind. And looking at this public figure, and if he wasn't a public figure, he would just be somebody that was an addict. He would just be a regular, as they say, addict, but with name notoriety. And with him having the funds that he has, he's rich. So he had access. He had access to get what he wanted, when he wanted, how he wanted it. And this behavior caused him to just spiral out of control, and it's just really amazing to me that the people that are around us, do we know the signs? Can we pick up on the signs of someone that has an addictive problem or have a problem with substance abuse? Can we pick up on it? Sometimes, yes, in their behaviors, and then there's some people that can really, 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 really disguise what they're doing. And it's just interesting to me that after all of these lawsuits of his one of his producers that lived in the house with him, and also with Cassie, that his notorious parties and the attendees of those parties, even some said that they were politicians and they were executives. And yeah, they even said some clergymen were there too. And I'm not going to mention any names right now because it's all alleged, but there were this lifestyle that he lived, that he wanted to have these substances for his consumption. It's not surprising in the entertainment world. Elvis Presley, when he was in his house in Graceland, that sad night, that he was addicted to painkillers, and all he had to do was call the doctor, and the doctor would prescribe them. Not just him, Michael Jackson, uh, Prince. We can go on and down the line, up and down, whether it was an injury or whether it was just outright abuse of those narcotics. Um, people can get hooked on them. They call some doctors, they called them pill pushers. They had a pad and prescription pushers. They could you go to the doctor writes you a prescription, and the pharmaceutical companies are responsible also, because the pharmaceutical companies they push the doctors and they push the clinics to uh, distribute and to write as many prescriptions as they could for these dangerous drugs. We can list them all: OxyContin and even cocaine, and they got fentanyl and all these things that are out there. But you look at a career, a lifetime of achievement go right down the drain. I don't know whether it was just drug use, or it was just this young man's personality, or whether it was the power that he was uh, drawn into as a vacuum. But it was some serious things, and people will come out and tell the truth on you. They're going to tell on you and let you know, especially if you haven't treated them right. And Diddy was known for not paying royalties and not taking care of people, and it's it's just so amazing to see that one day you're on top of the world and the next minute you're fighting for your own reputation. And it is something to just wonder, because this has been going on for years, not just a couple of months or just the past year, but years and years. And his body's worn down, and you're abusing the people around you, you're threatening people, and then you're king of the entertainment industry, and all of a sudden this happens. And then the people that are working around you are given details of the things that were happening behind the scene. I don't know if there was any kind of non-disclosure agreement or any kind of agreement legally that this former bodyguard had, but right now he's speaking out about it, and then he's trying to, in a sense, apologize. And there's uh, so many things that he's trying to convey over in this real small article that they have, and then they have a interview on Black TV, and there's a video, and he's telling it, he's detailing it, and he's trying to get it out that these things were happening. Now, it was reported already that one of his associates, when uh, Diddy's houses got raided, they were at an airport in, I think it was in Miami or so, and they stopped the plane with his associate, and this associate had the medicine bag. Eventually, he and on the along the line, he got arrested for it and charged. And I think he has a deal of non adjudication. He does not have to face any jail time. He will be on probation, but now he has to cooperate with the authorities against Diddy. And that's something, isn't it? They said, your downfall, and you've been working for this man all along, knowing what he's doing. You get caught, and as they say, that you snitched on him. Is that bad? Is that good? I don't think it's bad. I don't. I think that if your neck is on the line, you got to say something. I'm gonna tell it everything. I'm gonna let everybody know if there's some wrongdoing going on. I'm the person that's up against the wall, and I'm looking at 30, 40 years. I don't have that much time. I'm letting them know what the deal is. First of all, I'm gonna stay away. Hopefully, just stay away from things like that. But this is these people's livelihoods. These security officers, these security guards, and bodyguards, and people that the cook, the person that works you out in the gym, the person that cooks your food, the person that cleans your house. They know more about you and more about that man's lifestyle than anybody else. And it's just a disturbing turn of events that are going on, and it's continuing to go on. The mounting legal troubles that this young man has, and with everything that's happening in his life, uh, it's just amazing that the children, the people that he had contact with, that looked up to him, are now looking at him saying, "Man, you did all these things." And then these young people that were young at one time, Usher and several other entertainers that were under his tutelage, seen things and observed things that they shouldn't have seen and they shouldn't have observed, or even participated in. And the entertainment industry, it's so rocky. There's so many things that go on behind the scenes that I wonder. Now, back in my day, we had the Teddy Pendergrasses and the Al Greens and the Shaka Khans and the Aretha Franklins and all of these great artists, even the Michael Jacksons, the Marvin Gaye's and David Ruffins and all of these people, some along the line had some type of substance abuse problems, or they were so popular and so famous that they could get anything that they want. And in that world that we live in, and in the world that we live in today, it's not uncommon for these things to be going on in the lives of the people that we love to hear their craft and to hear their uh, the entertainment that they give us and the gift that they have of singing or acting or even behind the scenes directors, producers, executives, people that had to satisfy these people in order to make them happy and in order to get their product out. A friend of mine who's passed away, Natalie Cole, and her former husband. Uh, Her former husband was Marvin Yancey, forgive me. And there were always rumors that was out there that these things were going on behind the scenes, that there was substance abuse that was going on. And I'm not trying to speak ill of the dead or anything like that, but there were things going on that people on the outside did not know. And also these struggles that they go through because they got deadlines and different things. And I'm not making excuses, but with all that pressure that they have on them, I could see that these things could creep in. And it's just amazing as the story continues to unfold. I just noticed also that the key to the city of New York that was given to Diddy by the mayor of New York, uh, he has returned to the city because people were complaining, why are you giving him Grammys and keys to the city? And this man hurt this woman and did the things that he did. Yes, there's forgiveness, but you have to face justice also. And no way, in no way whatsoever, should a woman or even a man should be touched. Keep your hands to yourself. You ain't got no business slapping around and hurting somebody or doing things to persons. You know, it's ridiculous. And as on a man's standpoint, and we just got over Father's Day, and trying to celebrate those great people that brought us in, that help us get into the world. There are a lot of things, and I'm speaking to men too, and to people that are out there today. Listen, it's not worth it. You don't have to go to those lengths to step on somebody and hurt somebody. Step up to a man, as they say. If you want to box somebody, go to the gym and hit the bag. Don't hit the person that we quote unquote or you quote unquote say that you love. And we're going to be looking at this, and we're going to be observing this as we continue to uh, go along and see the accounts of what's happening. There are no indictments laid down, but there is some action that is going on in the court system with Mr. Combs. But we're at 20 after the hour, and we're going to take a station break.
You're listening to Your Man on the Street with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA FM, your station for information and inspiration.
And we're back also. There's some interesting things also in the news about Clarence Thomas, Justice Clarence Thomas, as I was commenting on him, and we were having a discussion on this past week about Clarence Thomas and who he is and what position that he's in right now. Clarence Thomas was the justice that after Justice Thurgood Marshall, who was the very first African American to become a justice on the Supreme Court, Justice Thomas became the second, and we have Justice Jackson, the power woman, as I would say, who is on now, who's the first African American woman to serve on the High Court. Uh, Justice Thomas has been up to some things, and he's been doing some things, and there's some people that have been uh, wanting his company, and it's been interesting to find out that Justice Thomas has some very, very powerful friends and some very, very powerful associates that probably given him a reason to sway some of his decisions. And it reads in this story, it says a congressional committee released documents showing that Justice Clarence Thomas had not disclosed three private jet trips. He has not disclosed those trips paid for by Texas billionaire Harlan Crow. Harlan Crow has a lot of money. He has plenty of power. And Justice Thomas, just so to speak, is one of his tight, I won't call him friends, but maybe he's an associate of his. And the article goes on to say that Justice Clarence Thomas never disclosed the three trips abroad on the private jet of Texas billionaire Harlan Crow. According to documents obtained by the Senate Judiciary Committee released on last Thursday, the documents obtained by the Democrats on that panel listed three visits that have not been previously reported. One to a city in Montana near the Glacier National Park in 2017, and another one to his hometown in Savannah, Georgia. Shout out to Georgia. In 2019, there was another one to Northern California. There were two, also in 2021. The purpose of each trip was not immediately clear, nor was the reason for their omission on the justice's disclosure forms. However, all of the flights involved short stays. Two were round trips that did not include any overnight stay. The revelation underlined in the extent to which Justice Thomas relied on the generosity of his friends over the years and the consistency he declined to tell the reporters what the trips were for and why. Justice Thomas also said that he has been advised that he did not need to disclose the gifts. You do have to disclose a gift. You're a federal employee, you're a federal appointee, you're in the judiciary, and you must disclose like every politician, congressman, even the president, local officials. You have to disclose when you get gifts, and you have to declare them and let on your disclosure form. So I don't know where he got that from, and whoever gave him that kind of advice, I think he needs to find another counselor. It says that also he got gifts of personal hospitality from his friends who did not have cases before the Supreme Court. He didn't say anything about them either. And they said the announcement is still all but certain to fuel the fight over the greater transparency at the Supreme Court. And you know, the Supreme Court this past week also ruled and gave an opportunity for the abortion pill to be used and not to be restricted. Now, we all have our own versions and our own beliefs about abortion, but I think that a woman has a right to choose. She has a right. That's your body. You have a free will to do that you want to. My personal opinion, I'm against it, but other than that, I'm for a woman's right to choose. And lawmakers' efforts to require justices to be held to ethical standards similar to those that are in the executive, as I said, and the legislative branches, and they falter. It seems like it's everything is alive and everything is a go. If you're Justice Thomas, you can get away with these types of things and hide your trips and hide your cigars and hide that good brandy that they were drinking. And somebody leaked a picture of them that was actually turned into a painting of the gentleman sitting around, and Mr. Thomas is sitting there with his cigar, probably discussing many cases or whatever they were discussing. but just the appearance of impropriety is something I can't go and find. If I was a legislator or what have you, I couldn't do the things that these people are getting away with. We would probably never know to the extent, and he's been there a long time. Justice Marshall passed away many, many, many years ago. How many trips did he actually take? How many trips did his wife take? How many trips did his associates take? How many gifts and how many favors did he receive? They said Harlan Crow also bought his childhood home, or the home of his grandmother, and took over the mortgage, paid the mortgage off, and gave the house of Justice Thomas over to his family. And they said one day they're going to build a museum or something on that site in Augusta, Georgia. But how did this man get this way? And I read a article recently that Justice Thomas was saying he wanted to be rich. He had an ambition to be rich. He was uh, first, he was a black nationalist. He was in school and college, and he decided to join the Black Panthers, and he decided to fight for equality and stand up for equality, even in while he was in law school. And somewhere along the line, and somewhere along the way, he lost his way. He lost that fervor and that power. I'm not saying that any group is either good or bad, but this young man at that time had ambitions. He worked for EEOC. And during his confirmation hearings, if some of you didn't remember, and if you haven't looked back in your history, during his confirmation hearings, Anita Hill, who was an associate of his, I think worked directly under him at the federal agency EEOC, the for equal opportunities for workers. You give your complaints to the EEOC, and they'll step up to the plate if there are any violations. And Anita Hill told about the sexual harassment that she received and described in detail during the Senate hearings, the various things that Mr. Thomas would do, and what he would, how he would express himself around her, and how he would cuddle up to her, and all these other things, and rejected Miss Hill rejected his advances, and along the way, it goes back to say it came up again when he was up for this position. And they fought and they fought and they fought. And eventually he got the nomination cleared through the Senate and became a justice. I want to ask a question, and I want to ask a question in the chat. Do you think that we deserve to have special benefits because we have a position? Do we have to? Do we deserve to have special gifts and be treated as royalty, as I say, or should we be held to the standard of excellence and ethics that we should live by? Is there two sets of rules? Should we live by two sets of rules? I want to know. Put something in the chat and see what you all have to say. Maybe you all like that. You say, well, he getting the benefit, and he gets all his nice dinners and go on hunting trips and go get fishing trips and go on private jet planes. All of us would wish that we had that. But is that okay for? Do you think the rules are so tight and that they're so egregious that they should not follow them? I look around and I see that people are working for a living. People are punching the clock like we all should do and have done. So what makes him so special that he can fly around the country and just reap the benefits of good living and sitting around and piling up with his friends? And is it right for us to look down on a person like that? Or how should we hold that person to that standard? Justice Thomas also said he didn't immediately respond to anybody. He's got a good lawyer. I've heard of this lawyer that he has, Mr. Elliot S. Burke, and he didn't respond to questions. And He didn't go into details about the trips, but he defended the trips and the information that's supplied to lawmakers by Mr. Crow. He said it fell under personal hospitality exemption and was not required to be disclosed by Justice Thomas. So Justice Thomas been flying around and doing his thing and having a ball, having a ball. And I wonder if we got a double standard in this country. It was unheard of for us to hear of presidents and senators. You might have heard some local politicians or a mayor or two, or maybe even a congressman. There was one congressman that he had money in his freezer and hundreds of thousands of dollars in his freezer. Do you think that? Uh, what do you all think about the standards that should be set? Should we be are we, even though we're not perfect or anything like that, but should we be held to a standard that um that's above, that we supposed to be above reproach, you know? Or should we just keep our goodies hidden and not say anything about the things that are going on in our lives today? I'm nobody's judge. I'm not saying that. But then when you look at uh, the former president convicted of 34 felony counts, when you look at the governors and the senator of New Jersey that's being indicted, and his wife that are being indicted because they allegedly taken money from a foreign country. Or if you just sit around and just say, well, I want to give my friend a job, or I want to give my relative a job, is there a line that should not be crossed? Menendez, that was his name, Mr. Menendez, that's Senator Menendez, over there in New Jersey. I mean, if you look at it, even locally in your local communities, and there's some shenanigans going on around here where I live too, because certain monies aren't sent here, and the lobbyists come around and they say, well, we don't want you to pass the Medicare expansion, or then you got the doctors that say that they want it, and they're closing hospitals all over the South, all of these smaller hospitals in the rural areas that deserve and can use the money, free money. And when I say free money, allotted by the government. And because we got a problem or ideology and an identity crisis with people, we feel that we shouldn't take care of the poor. Politicians got the best insurance around. They got all kind of Blue Cross, Blue Shield, this shield, that shield, and we're paying for it. Yet and still and all, it's not good enough for us to have equal insurance. And that's disappointing. It's very, very, very disappointing. So, is there a double standard? Is there a double standard? And I want to know. You tell me in the chat. Y'all tell me whether it's a double standard that we're living in, because something. Corruption has been here before we came in the world, and it'll be here when we leave. And I just feel dismayed because these are people that we look up to. These are people that we count on to be fair and to be able to depend on their fairness, because here in this country, they say that we have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I have a question about that. That's another show. I won't even get involved in that. But are the Democrats and the Republicans, just because this man is a conservative Republican, is it? I know Democrats that are doing just the same. I mean, they're doing hooking and crooking over there. And I was reading a story this weekend about Dalton, Illinois, how the mayor over there is just spending money like water. And it is just ridiculous how people get into power and forget where they came from. Activists and social justice crusaders get out there, and then once they get into office or into a position, they forget about the little people. And I was looking at one of our wonderful people in the chat was saying, I wonder if Harlan paid for his counselor. Maybe he did. He might have had. And also somebody else said that, I don't know whether this is true or not, that Harlan Crow collects Nazi memorabilia. It's possible. I don't know what's up in that house. Who knows? There should be checks and balances, yet no one checks the balance, check or balance, because most of them are. Yeah, I can go along with that. Not all politicians, but most of them. Somebody's getting some money. If you've been in Congress more than 8 years, you probably have gained a substantial amount of money. They're lobbyists. They're people that come and ask you to vote a certain way or try to influence your thought or to not vote for certain things. And I'm pretty sure that the persuasion that they kind of use um, is money or whatever, or trips, or I'll take you on the Riviera, I'll take you here, and I'll wine and I'll dine you and different things. So yeah, it's a problem in our government. It's a problem everywhere, and I think that if we really look at how society is today, it's almost that you can't even trust anybody from the church house to the White House, and people are coming unhinged, and uh, looks like, as they used to say, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. But this is just interesting to see that not only has we're looking at Diddy and we're looking at Clarence Thomas. There, like I said, locally in our own communities, in our own places that we live. I mean, there are things, small towns that have limited budgets and limited access to things, have just squandered the monies that they have, and it's sad. It's sad, and it's sad to a point that what you do to the least of these people, what you do to the people that are struggling out there, punching the clock, trying to get on the bus, trying to even get a job or get something that's sustainable to try to fight for a living. You can get that done, but here people sitting back and reaping the benefits and getting it off of our dime. And I was talking to a young lady that was a part of a lawsuit with a coffee company here locally, and it's a national chain, and they were fighting for rights to participate in union negotiation, to unionize their jobs. And do you know the lobbyists, what they did to the courts and what they did to the politicians? They said, we can't form a union. We can't have them have collective bargaining. We can't have them getting more than what we want to give to them. And that's sad in the country that we all live in, and the richest country in the world, and we can't get a livable wage, or we can't get the things that we need because of the greed of the corporations. Now, I'm not against corporations. I'm not against anybody having their business. What I do have a problem with is with people that will not be fair to the people that work for them. That goes for the janitor that sweeps, the person that washes the window and clean the toilets and makes the beds and cook your food and take you around. They ought to be able to have a living wage. We all should be able to live good, and to see these people that we put in positions get over. I mean, it's amazing. I wish I had the benefits that they have, not in that realm, but to receive the benefits that that they're receiving. And it's just amazing to me how this is going, because it's not just in the Supreme Court. It's everywhere. It's everywhere, and it's just sad. Hey, we're going to take another station break. This is WKRA 92.7 on your FM dial. I'm James Mack, and we're going to hear our station ID.
You're listening to Your Man on the Street with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA FM, your station for information and inspiration. You're listening.
Hey, if you'd like to advertise on our show, do you have a product or service that you have and you'd like to reach people, and reach people even around the country? Think about advertising with WKRA and the Man on the Street program. with Wisdom's daughter and James Mack. Hey, listen, it'll be money well spent. It will be an opportunity for you to touch new markets and to reach the demographics that you like. And if you like to, don't just go to our website and drop us a link or drop us something in the chat if you would like for us to do so. As I was saying before, Wisdom is on assignment, and I'm here and I'm just rocking in the chair and enjoying myself on this beautiful Monday. It's raining somewhere, it's sunny somewhere, it's hot in the South somewhere. So I hope that you're enjoying your day, whether you're eating your lunch or you're just reclining back, or the kids are out of school, they running your nuts or something like that. Y'all get them to summer camp and send them out the house or something like that. And once again, like to salute to all of our fathers. Happy belated Father's Day. And even to the mothers that stepped up to be fathers. You know, not everybody has their parents, and not everybody has a participating parent. So to all of those ladies that do it each and every day and make it happen, I salute you. Yes, even on the day that is set aside for fathers. There's nothing wrong with recognizing people because, you know, my mother, I knew my father. I'm just going to give you a little story. Uh, I knew my father. He was a real good provider and everything, but my mother carried the weight. She made sure that I got to school. She made sure that things were well for me. And I salute Ida, where I know she's listening. And I salute all of you great women that have stepped up to the plate. And I salute the men that are taking care of business. Those fathers that go to work every day, bring their paycheck home, that coach the little league team, that go to the basketball games, that try to be there and that are there supporting their children. I salute you too. And there's nothing wrong with that. So like I said before, if you really want to come and be a part and advertise with us, you can. We're going to have more information for you. All you got to do is go to 92.7 WKRA, and all you got to do is put it in your search engine. You'll find our website, and you go there and you can select what product you would like to, what advertising product that you would like. We're moving and we're moving and we're shaking and we're shaking and we're moving. And we're going to make sure that you get great information and inspiration on this station. And we you know, with everything that's going on, you need some an outlet that's personable, that will give you the information that you need and that you want. And I'm so grateful for everybody that's in our chat talking to us and saying hello. Thank you all for supporting us and continuing to hold the line with us as we continue to do the things that we're doing here at the radio station. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity. This is week number 2 that we finished, and we're into week 3. And I hope that the programming has been wonderful. I hope that things have inspired you and that you've been informed in some type of way. And I'm just grateful just to be here. But you know something, as we continue to look at our events and our current events that are happening around the world, you know, we have to really be conscious of the fact that we have a responsibility and the government has a responsibility to give us good government. And we got to be careful about the things that are going on, like with Mr. Crow and his things that he's doing and trying to influence things, and Mr. Thomas, who I guess he just forgot all about his vow that and his oath that he taken. And hopefully he'll get himself together, because he's not going to have that position always, and it's a position of trust. And also, as I was looking today, and I got a couple of phone calls on this particular subject. They always sending me something, but then something usually hits, and it becomes real. It becomes really interesting to me. Somebody out of Memphis, saying hello to Memphis, Tennessee, sent me an article about an incident that happened on Juneteenth. You know, we just celebrated Juneteenth this weekend, and the spotlight has been less on Juneteenth and what it means, and it's been the spotlight has been turned on the crimes that was committed. Someone sent me this, and we're going to discuss a little bit about what happened with this young man, man accused of stealing a Corvette in downtown Memphis. A stolen car is not so exciting or interesting because it happens everywhere. But on Juneteenth, they were saying that this is a shame that on Juneteenth, a man he's facing multiple charges after the Memphis police say that he was involved with stealing a Corvette in downtown Memphis. This came from Memphis, one of our Memphis listeners. And that person was downtown, and this car cost a value. It was a Stingray, 2014 Corvette Stingray, valued at $46,500. They say when the young man got out of the car, the suspect ran up to the passenger seat and allegedly pointed a gun at him and said, "Get back before I unalive you." And the driver fled from. Now he left his car, and under the guise of a weapon. And the Memphis police, they found the car a little bit later down, a little bit further from where the driver was in downtown, and they found it, and they recovered it, but it was some damage done to it. And they say that this young man has been apprehended, and he's also facing a judge on this morning. It's not about the person or the car or how much it costs. Around the country, we're seeing car thefts, we're seeing smash and grabs, we're seeing all kind of crimes, and they come out of the communities that I used to live in, the communities where my people, the people that look like me, live. And have you experienced anything like that? Are you fed up with what's going on in your community and your neighborhood? I know you might not have sent me a email or sent me a story about it, but it's something that's really disturbing to me. That here we are, we go to work and we attain things. We save our money for maybe that house, maybe like you said, that car, and then someone comes to violate that house or violate that car or just violate you. Period. And now people are talking about arming themselves to the T, and they're talking about going to the gun stores. The gun stores have sales on guns. They've got the 2-for-1 special over at a gun store called Bullfrog Corner. They got a 2-for-1. You buy two, you get one free. What's this world coming to when we have to depend upon weapons to protect us? Are we really living in a time and day where everybody needs a FOIA card, everybody needs some gun training, everybody needs a license? What do you have to say about that? And shout out to all of you that are in the chat. I thank you very much. It's so good to see all of you all. I know that as we continue to delve into this, these are young people. These are young people that are out there 12, 11 years old, out there stealing cars, the Kia car. They're coming together in the Mid-South to give data upgrades and to give software upgrades because these cars are easily to be stolen. And I'm sitting back here and I'm wondering, what's really going on in our community, not just with car thefts and with gun crimes. There's a lot of things going on, and it's happening with our young people, and nobody's speaking out. Where is the leadership? Where is the people that are supposed to be stepping up to the plate? Where are the people that would march in the streets and declare that we're sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of crime and being a victim of crime? And what can we do? Anybody got any suggestions of what we can do? Who needs to be doing it? Is it a Democrat problem? Is it a Republican problem? Can the politicians fix this? Can the pastors fix this? Or is it a home problem? What do you have to say? They say I got one post on the other side that says that we ought to build more jails. Is more jails the answer? Jailing people? I mean, how many jails are we going to build? How many jails are we going to construct to hold people. We in America have the greatest and the largest number of incarcerated people anywhere in the world is the United States of America. What would deter us? What would deter people from doing these things? Is it programs that they need? Is it jobs? Is it an economic situation? What is it? What is it that would really turn the tide of this epidemic of crime in our communities? And that's just something just to throw out there to just let you know that hey, we got some problems in our communities, but I believe that they can be solved if we come together. It takes a village. It's not just a house, not just a block, but it really truly takes a village to yeah, raise children. It takes a village to watch out for one another as a village. And it's sad to see. And I want to thank Stephanie in Memphis for sending just that bit of information. But what do you say? What do you say? They say one of our dear listener says in Japan, kids are in school all day long. And they do after school activities and they have a curfew that is enforced countrywide. Yeah, I remember curfew. You had to, well, my mother had a curfew. When the street lights come on, you better be in the house. Don't be coming to the house. You better be in the house. Wow, that's something. Another one of our chat members say that make that gun store pay for that. No freebies, no freebies. That's a location. When I said that location, it wasn't particularly that store. It was just that location where that store is. I don't advocate advertising. Nobody gets free advertising. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to advocate for weapons, but that was in that particular area. And I want to thank Night Skinned for that. Interesting note. I do take note of that. But you know, we got to understand and realize this. When I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s, going to school and going to college, I didn't have to worry about the things that people are worrying about now. The young people have to worry about now. The whole generation has changed. Things are the same, but the generations change. Uh, what was permissible back then, as far as discipline is concerned, would be considered uh, abuse of some kind. And those of y'all that know what I'm talking about, y'all got grandmothers and mothers. Some of us, our fathers were rough. My mother was the disciplinarian in the house. And she used to say something. She said, if the school ever has to call me off of that job, you know, we're gonna have it out. And one day I had forgot about what she said, and I'm just clowning in class and doing this and doing that. And they said, we're going to call your mother. I broke down so hard, I just begged, please do not call anybody else, but don't call that woman off of her job. She meant business. There was a sense of discipline, and there was a sense of letting me know where my place was. Nowadays, we see a lot of things. Parents are dealing with a lot of issues, and children are dealing with a lot of issues too. And you know, they say it's ADHD. Some have some other problems and disabilities. But then, when I was growing up, my mother said she had a solution for everything, and that was that if you got in trouble, you would face the music. And I would always, and you know, when I found out really what the music was, I didn't like that tune. Uh, is discipline gone out of the homes? I mean, are we disciplining enough, or we're not disciplining enough? Um, what is it that we as people should do in a situation like that? Are we not administering proper raising? What's going on with our young people today, and what should we do? Are we going to raise up a new and another generation of people that have taken advantage and will take advantage of other people by taking what they have and being outlandish and disrespectful? They're even in schools. I was reading an article last week about a teacher and a student fighting, actually fighting. Now I'm on. I had to go old school on you all and let you know. Now I wouldn't look at my teacher. My teacher's name was Gloria Scott. I'll never forget her as long as I live because she made the best impression upon me in my school years. And when Miss Scott spoke and her helper, if y'all can imagine what that helper was, and her helper spoke, she spoke volumes. And believe it or not, she kept a good reign. It was no such thing as fighting or going to jump up at her or jump up at a teacher or do anything. We did our work. We did it to the best of our ability. She assisted us. It was no fights in the room. There was no hollering, no screaming, no disrespect. What has happened? Have we changed as human beings, as parents, and as caregivers for children? Have we changed, or is there something really wrong with the way that children are brought up these days? And that's a big question. And I don't want to ask. What do you think about it? What do you think about it? One of our chat members says, I don't think that we discipline correctly. Hitting children teaches them to slave their problems using violence. Then suppress it, then y'all suppress and they become criminals and get a record, etc. I don't know if that was funny or not. I won't say the end part. And another one of our members say the different punishment styles are still needed today, and some do not hold their kids accountable in the home, and they need to stop rewarding children with bad behavior and disrespect. My goodness, you probably took that took the words right out of my mouth. There is different ways of punishing. There is different ways of discipline. You ain't have to hit your children or beat them to death or anything like that. I mean, or beat them unalive or anything like that. You don't have to do all of that to get your point across. Another one of our wonderful chat member says, I remember when my grandma used to always say, each generation becomes weaker and wiser. Wow. Wow, that's something to think about. That's something to think about. Another one of our chat members says, nothing will change as long as the politicians are controlled by the NRA and billionaires and corporations and lobbyists with deep pockets. Unfortunately, yeah. Well, I think that I think that may be true. That may be true. Uh, there's another one of our chat members. I love this chat. Y'all really discussing things today. Thank you all for participating. Says James, you wear glasses. Well, I used to wear glasses. I used to have them, but that didn't make me say anything terrible to my teacher or act out with my mother. I wouldn't do that, or my parents. Period. I wouldn't do that. There's not enough adult supervision in the home. Also, many parents are trying to be friends with their children and not adults. Oh, you know something? That is true. I will always wonder why my father and my mother would say, "So I couldn't be your friend. I'm not your friend. I'm not your friend. I'm not your buddy. I'm not going to hang out with you." My mother did not hang out where I hung out. I didn't hang out where she did, other than the church. And I didn't do the things that they did. And even when I was a little boy, I didn't. She said, grown people are in here. Grown folks are in here. Y'all remember that. What you doing up here listening to what grown folks is doing? We had a place where we needed to be. We had a place where we knew that we fit in at, and that place was getting out of their way. I understand that. That's interesting. That's interesting. Another chat member says that if it doesn't make money, unfortunately, it doesn't make sense. Okay. The reality of how the world operates, lobbyists donate to elected officials, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, okay. Well, Harlan Crow isn't a politician. Yes, he's a billionaire, and uh, Justice Thomas is a judge. technically he's not a politician. He ain't got to run for anything. He was appointed, and he was appointed to that lifetime position. The justices on the Supreme Court, um, the justices on the Supreme Court are lifetime appointments. So you have to leave out of there uh, stretched out or something or retire. Hey, the nurse, I'm so proud of you. Keep hope alive. Thank you very much. I'm a shout out to all of my folks up there in Chicago, uh, all Ricky Dillard and his wonderful nurse, Adrena's Cornelius. I really, really thank God for you, and I thank you for being a part of my life. They helped me. Adrena's helped me along. I was crazy about Adrena's when I was a young man. I was trying to be a gentleman, and I would take her coat and everything, and her husband would get he'd look at me funny and say, "Man, you don't take my wife's coat off." So I was a mess back then. See, I should have stayed in a child's place. They say, "Go play somewhere." I'm trying to do other things. Uh, let's see. And another one of our great chat members say uh, that she would get up on us and outside, and she makes a laughing emoji, and she meant it physically as far as weakness. That you can play your mom and your dad. I had that type of mom. She didn't play, and I was in church. And I was doing some things, and we can talk. We grown people, we can talk. I was in church, and I was just cutting up and doing what I do and who do. And she looked down. She didn't come down out of the choir stand. She looked at me, and immediately I got fear in me. Not fear that I was going to lose my life or anything. I knew I was doing wrong. I knew I was cutting up, but I knew that she had a mechanism in her. She had the look. See, some of these parents need to get the look and some more. Don't beat your children. Don't do anything like. I can't suggest what you do, but get you a look. Get that look, that mean business. Get that look when you look at them. They know, hey, I better straighten up and fly right, or else I'm going to face the consequences. And yeah, I had that, and people don't believe I had that kind of parents. Shout out to Mrs. BB. Mrs. BB, I know who you are, and I'm so grateful to you for being one of our loyal listeners, and all of you that have uh, been with us on this afternoon. And I know Wisdom is listening, and she said, James, don't be talking about them parents and them whooping and then children getting disciplined and this and that and the other, and move on to something else or something like that, though. But I just have to shout out to Miss BB, and she says this, and she's still talking about Clarence Thomas, and it has a lot to do with what's going on with this society today. That Clarence Thomas and others, they bought. I believe that the lobbyists have bought them, and they're on the take. These lobbyists, the Heritage Foundation and the NRA and the different lobbyists, that's their job um, to do what they're doing. And it's a free country, and we have a right to express our views and our opinions, and hopefully that we will get an answer and that we will get the legislation that we need. Yeah, those eyes cut though. Yeah, that's true. My mother had those eyes. I mean, and you can see them, and even in her glasses, if she looks over her glasses and look at you, and you haven't done the right thing, and you've been cutting up, boy, something was on the way for you. And I think that things were better then. We had a better handle. Nothing wrong with discipline. Nothing wrong with discipline. And I'm a fervent believer that you ought to at least let your children know, and those that are in your care know who the boss is, and not in a dangerous way, not in the way of harming anybody. There is a such thing as harming, but you can let them know where you stand and who the boss is, because if not, we're going to have a society that will be out of control, and you don't want that. So we're just and you look back and you see, and they say, well, old man or whatever the case, they call me old school and things like that. Got a little gray hair on my head, and they say, how was it when you was growing up? I say, I remember when we had the phone on the wall and it had the little circular wheel, and you had to do the circular thing, and spin the wheel and it'll spin the number. I remember when we had radio. I remember when we did not have cable TV. We had this box and you this subscription box, and you turn it on at a certain time and it'll give you sports and different other channels and movies and different things, because I think that cable really started south and in rural areas because they had an antenna. They set it up and you get this box because the signal wouldn't go to certain places. So they had those things back then. They said, well, what else was there? There was no internet. We had pay phones. We played outside. There was no Nintendo. We had Miss Pac-Man and Mr. Pac-Man, or not Mr. Pac-Man, but Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man and things like that. We played ball. We went on the swings. We had activities, and I'm afraid that some of the children, they just sit in the house with the controller in their hands and missing out on some really, 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 really great thing. Yeah, so, yeah, the phones was, I'm just, and to Penelope, look, yeah, on the wall. On the wall, on the wall. We had to, and then we had call waiting. Was you click down on the line, it'll beep, and you click down, and you can had three-way calling and all of that stuff. But it was on the wall. It wasn't in our pockets. And I remember that the only people that had cell phones back then, it was car phone. They called it the car phone. Back then, the car phone was you had to be a doctor, politician, or a person that did illegal things. It was those types of things. And then, do y'all remember the cell phones that you had the bag? I had a bag phone. That was way back. It cost a lot of money. It wasn't mine. I was carrying it for somebody. At that time, I was helping out someone, and they needed me as an assistant, so I carried the bag phone. You thought you was somebody, you could have a bag phone. Then they had the flip phone, and they had the phone that they didn't have a camera on it or anything like that. They had the little digital numbers and all that other stuff. Yeah, on the wall, three-way. Yeah, we lived that way. We lived that way. We do need after school programs. When other people saying, he said that's why after school programs are needed. Kids need something to do. It's hot outside. It's summer. They miserable, and they stuck in the house. And they need some activities, and they need to be able to get out. And I know that parents are working still, and you're concerned. But there are a lot of programs. There are a lot of school districts and a lot of park districts in many communities, and take advantage of them and allow your children to participate in them. And some have even extended hours for those that work. So if you look up in your local community and try to find some activity for the children. I don't mind. Is the devil workshop? That's what they used to tell me. One of our listeners say that they were a latchkey kid, and I remember that. How many of y'all remember the latchkey kids? You you get a string and you tie your key around, and you around your neck, and you didn't let nobody in the house. Mama said, if you let anybody in the house, I'll know about it. I wonder, how did she know about it? Well, Miss Hattie lived up the street, and Miss Hattie would call Mama on her lunch break and say, Miss Ida, James outside, and he's throwing mud up beside the wall, upside the garage, and this and that, and he had such and so at the house too, and both of them was tearing up. So I'm thinking I got away with it. I got the water hose, and I washed down the garage door and all that, and I straightened up and everything. And she came in, and she had that look in her eye, and I'm saying, wait a minute, I know I ain't did anything. And that look say, yeah, who did you have in my house? And she say, if you lie, you know what happened. So I'm caught. I don't know. How did you know that somebody was in the house before I knew it was Miss Hattie? But how did you know it was somebody in the house, and what I did? And what did you throw in mud outside my garage for? And I'm looking like, this lady got supervision or something. What's going on? We knew that there were people that we had to be accounted. We had to be held accountable and accounted to. And those people took care of and made sure that there was no harm, there was no danger in the community that we lived in. And I think I'm really grateful for Grace Curry. y'all don't know, and I'm going to talk about Grace a little bit as we go along in our broadcast and continue to broadcast. These are people that had, they were the ones that pulled my collar. So Grace Curry hit the corner, and her car, she had a Malibu. And the car looked like that car on Tyler Perry. You know how Madea had that Cadillac and that color, that gold, like that. It was like a gold color. Well, she hit the corner, and we just doing any and everything. And Grace, yeah, all of us got a Grace. We got a Minnie. We got somebody that's in that community that loved us. And those of y'all that remember back then. And Grace Curry hit that corner, and she said, "I'm going to tell your mama XYZ." And I begged her not to do it, but then she got out the car with whatever she used. She had a ruler, and she got that ruler, bow, bow and get in the house, bow, and you ain't supposed to be out, bow. And they had the right and authority to do so. You can't try that these days. People do something to you if you try to discipline their children. And I wouldn't recommend that to happen under no circumstances. If they're not yours, please don't put your hands on anybody's children. You don't need to be in any kind of legal trouble whatsoever. But this is the Man on the Street show. I'm James Mack, your wonderful host. As I said, my co-host, Wisdom's daughter, is on assignment. I know she's got something for me and something in store for me. She said, "James, you done told these people about your people and Grace Curry and all these other people." Well, I wanted to share with people and let them know that a broadcaster, I broadcast the news and I tell you everything, but hey, we do have life and we liven it up a little bit. Once again, I want to wish all of the fathers a happy belated Father's Day. I'm sorry that I'm late, but we don't broadcast on weekends, but we do also want to just salute all of the parents everywhere, mothers, fathers, those that had to step up to be fathers. There's a song back in the day, and I'm going to find it. I'm going to play it for y'all one day, and it's called "Color Me Father." And it's about a man that stepped up to the plate for a family and stepped up to the plate for a young man and his mother and made sure that they were taken care of. Uh, every time a father or someone that cares about you don't have to be blood related in order to be there in your corner. We'll be right back after
To
this.
Your Man on the Street with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA FM, your station for information and inspiration. You're
And here we are. We're back. And I know that Wisdom is going to be back soon with us and after she finishes her assignment. And once again, as I said before, I'm really grateful for everyone that has supported us for these past 2 weeks and beyond. Things are getting better for us. And if you know anybody that has a business or a service that you would like to have mentioned or have an ad ran on our station, WKRA is here for you. We have professionals available to produce your commercial, and if you have pre-recorded or pre-done productions, we'll accept those too. Go to 92.7 WKRA in your search engine to get any information that you want. Go to WKRA, hit our website, go to the advertising section and make out the proper documents, and we'll get that done for you. We're doing some great things over at WKRA, and shout out to everyone that works here each and every day to bring you the most wonderful. How do y'all like that music? And y'all should listen too. They got great music, great services, great people that are on, great personalities. They got Wisdom's daughter, they got James Mack, and we're just a happy family around here. So if you want to become a part of our family by helping us, we would love to have your business. You can also catch Wisdom's daughter on YouTube, and you can catch myself, James Mack. Your Man on the Street and Wisdom's Daughter, just like it said. Wonderful content, and all of you content creators and all of, yeah, everybody that's out there that listens to her. She has a wonderful, wonderful platform, wonderful show. You ought to tune in and listen, and I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy it. She had a great line of a great live the other night that I was listening to. And go to her website and go to her YouTube page, and you'll be able to view it. I'm not going to give away the goodies. It wouldn't be right to give away the goodies. But we're really, really, really grateful for everyone being here today. And like I said, as we get ready to wind our show down, let me put this in your ear. And we've often said that this is a station for information and inspiration. We are all human. We all are subject to make mistakes. We've made mistakes. There's nobody perfect on this earth. Don't kick yourself. Don't belittle yourself, and don't belittle or kick anybody else. Try this, for instance. Reach your hand down to somebody that's on the ground. Reach your hand to them and pull them up. Dry somebody's tears. Make somebody laugh. Bring some joy in somebody's life. I know that things may not look and seem to be where they ought to be, but it's people less like you and me each and every day that can make a difference. And every day that you have, and every day that you wake up and open those eyes is another day to get it right again. And you don't have to have a great position. You don't have to be a person of notoriety to make a difference in somebody's life. So as we get ready to wind down and end our broadcast time and our broadcast day, don't forget to love somebody. Don't forget to be good to somebody. It don't cost much. It don't cost much to care. It don't cost much to share. It doesn't cost much to be good to somebody. Please be good to somebody. Love somebody. Just love. So try it. You might like it. If you haven't tried it in a while, there's still love out there. There's still people out there that care. I'm James Mack. I'm your man on the street. Also here for my colleague, Wisdom's Daughter. You be blessed. You be uplifted. You be informed and be inspired.
Listening to Your Man on the Street with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA FM, your station for information and inspiration. You're listening to Your Man on the Street with Wisdom's